What's up, YouTube? I'm Taylor, and this is my weekly comic book review show. Uh, if you've been following along, if you've watched a few of these, you know how it's going to go. I'm going to start with the worst, and my audio will most likely give out at some point during this video. It's what the audio does. I can't afford a new camera. No, wait, not camera. Mic. I can't afford a new mic right now. So it is what it is. I spent hours messing with it. But, on the plus side, it'll give you something to comment about. So, yeah, please, leave comments. Let me know what your theory is about the mic or why you think it's not working. Let me know if you hate my reviews. Let me know if you would rather I just do this live and not have to worry about it. Just leave a comment. Oh, and hit the like button. Hit subscribe if you want. Those are all up to you. If you don't like what I'm doing, I don't know why you're watching. But, that's okay. Keep watching. Even hate-filled viewers, they give me view hours, people. And that's what it's all about right now. But yeah, please, if you like what I'm doing, follow along. Hit subscribe. It really would help the channel grow. And it'll help me do this. I've got a ton of comics I bought this week. They're expensive. The sooner I get to 1,000, the sooner I can maybe offset a little bit of that with ad money. I don't want to have to set up a Patreon or anything like that. It's just not, it doesn't feel right. So, I'd rather have you watch an ad about why everybody on the internet shaves their balls. And on that note, all right. We're going to start this off with Luna, #1 from Image. No, wait, is it Image? No, it's Boom Studios. Maria Lovett. This might go somewhere, maybe. And the art's kind of cool, but there's just not much of a story here. It's all kind of a drug trip. And I think there might be a vampire. I don't really know. It's just kind of confusing and a muddled mess. And I did not care for it. It's a good-looking comic. It really is. But it's just, there's not much there story-wise. And there might eventually be. I'm not going to stick around and find out. I just, this one's not gonna make my buy list. Speaking of not going to make my buy list, I was trying to capture some nostalgia, regain my wayward lost youth, and so I picked up Beast Wars Transformers #1, and I was just kind of bored. The art's not super Transformer-y. The artist, who is Bertram, okay, so it's Burnham who's the writer, Bertram who's the artist, and that's not at all confusing. But Burnham, they're writing lots of dialogue on a spaceship. Yeah, it's okay. Nothing great. I mean, it's just kind of dull. And then the art didn't seem to fit Transformers. It's just the body shapes and everything were very simplified, and like beyond even like the '80s cartoon simplification of the figures and stuff. They're just really simplified, and they tried humanizing the robots, I guess, for lack of a better word, and it didn't work for me. So I'll be passing on the next one of these. Sorry. All right. Return of the Valkyries #2. Jason Aaron, and I can't remember who else is writing with him, and I can't remember who's drawing with him. It's just forgettable. I think the idea of the Valkyries is great, and I think I'll be glad if and when they actually do come back. This sort of ties into King in Black. It's kind of a quest for a thingy. You need a thingy to be the thingy, so you need to go questing for the thingy. Nothing much happens again. It's just not a lot, not enough here for me to sink my teeth into. And so, yeah, I don't know. Cool cover. The Bifrost Bridge. Hollow Men. I am done with Kanto. This is the last of the Hollow Men. The lettering's gotten better, and the inking's gotten better as it goes along. My problem is still with the writing. There's pacing issues, and there's no payoff to the writing. There's just kind of this emotionless, end of it all, and there's no there's no heroic journey really. I mean, there's an anti-heroic. How can I phrase this? Kanto doesn't do anything. He just kind of trips through things and says he's going to be brave, and because he shows up, people are like, "Oh, you're brave," and then the story just kind of meanders forward, and things get sort of solved. It's and the pacing's very odd on it, and it's just not for me. If you're loving it, that's great. If you think it should be a television series, a movie, and a documentary, fantastic. Yeah, just again, not for me. All right, Man-Bat #1. Man-Bat's an angsty, drug-addicted person who's trying to cure deafness. I don't think that's new at all. Maybe it is. If it is, oops, sorry, didn't mean to spoil it for you. I think this is the start of an ongoing series, which is a weird time to do it because Future State's going on, and this is not Future State. This is the DC continuity, whatever the heck DC continuity means right now. I don't think anyone knows what that actually means. It's okay. I love the figure of the Man-Bat and stuff. It's just kind of, I don't get why this came out, I guess. And it's not fantastic. It's just, it's fine. Which is almost worse than bad. It's just kind of like average. It's just, yeah. All right, speaking of which, the next Batman Future State blah-de-blah-de-blah Part 3, the main story's decent. The next Batman himself is actually a pretty interesting character and, like, differentiated enough from Bruce Wayne and stuff that it's kind of interesting, but my problem is this is like how much is this? $8 comic. And the backup stories, no, they're just not good. They're just shoehorned in here so you pay $8 for this thing. And that just annoys the hell out of me, DC. It really does. My problem is I added it to a pull list and I forgot to get it in a comic shop or anything, so I ended up with it. And, yeah, I gotta remember to take things off my pull list. And yeah, we're kind of in the middle of a stack. It's a large week this week. This book's not horrible. High Republic #2, kind of muddled storytelling too. It's just you're lots of new characters introduced in this. Lots. I don't know. It's hard to put my I can't figure out why I don't love this. I mean, I can. It's just kind of clunky storytelling, and there's no like. It's missing some of the grand operatic feel of Star Wars, but like Star Wars like had a great combination of like the grand operatic like thing with like a small human adventure, and you get the sense of the scale of like the big, worst possible problems, but you just don't care. I guess like maybe I just don't care enough about these like main characters right now for it to be the personal scale. Maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Let me know what you think on this one. If you've read it, I'd love to hear some different opinions on this. But yeah, it's High Republic #2. I think it's a mini series, which is also part of the issue. It's like if you only have if you don't have that long, drawn out, full thing to tell a story, you got to make it a little more interesting and concise and less whatever this is. So yeah, I wish I had a better, very insightful review, people, and that's why you're here for my deep insights on this one. But I don't know. All right, Gwen versus Carnage #2. Not bad. The art just doesn't really do it for me on this one. Sean and McGuire is writing it. They're a pretty decent writer. And, I've actually read some of the novels or the books they've written. And not horrible. This is like sort of trying to be a character study on Gwenum and a character study on the alternate world Mary Jane while in the middle of a battle with Null. And it doesn't always work for me. The art's kind of sketchy and stuff. It just doesn't seem to fit the story overly well. There's a few muddied panels, and they're not muddied, unclear panels, as it were. And again, middle of the stack. It'd probably be a better story if it wasn't trying to be shoehorned into the whole King in Black thing. But then there'd be no reason for Mary Jane to be Carnage. But you can still have a good character study between the alternate Mary Jane and the alternate Gwen without having this be a part of it. I think. So, Star Wars Adventures #3. The Tales of Villainy. This is a cover by, honestly. I like the cover B. I like the Darth Maul on the cover. Darth Maul is a cool looking character. I'm not caught up on all the Clone Wars and everything. And I don't think he's that interesting. He's just kind of cool looking. One of the first tale in here doesn't really have a whole lot to do with villainy. It's young, what's it, Jango Fett now? What's the young Liam Neeson, that guy, and young Obi-Wan with the ponytail-y weird hairdo he had. And like something attacks, so I guess there's villains involved, but like it's not villain focused. The back of the B story in here does focus on Darth Maul. It's fine. It just thinks it's more clever. The story thinks it's more clever than it really is, or the storyteller thinks they're being more clever than they really are. I guess, but again, not awful. All right. Star Wars: The High Republic Adventures #1. I don't know why this is an Adventures, and I don't know why the other one's not. It's not like one has like great like so much more like level of maturity that like they couldn't both be all ages stories. Star Wars has always been a bit all agey, anyways, and this is kind of no exception. It's an all ages story with I think different characters. Yeah, definitely different characters, but like I don't know. I like this one better. I like this story better. It's focusing again on the High Republic and the era of the Jedi, but it shows that not everybody loves the Jedi still, even in this high era, and respects it and stuff. And the Force is somewhat mistrusted, and that's kind of an interesting notion. And I think this one actually has maybe a little more potential than the main book. So I kind of enjoyed it. Again, we're middle of the stack. I kind of enjoyed is accurate. It's not. I didn't love it, but all right. Speaking of Jennica, decent, not great, but decent. Ongoing or a mini. I don't. I'm bad about picking up turtles. I kind of like pick it up and then I don't. Then I pick it up and I don't. On the plus side, not a lot of times does really happen, and so like you don't miss a whole lot. Jenica is not the wisest of the turtles, but she's not. She's kind of interesting because of that. She's kind of a flawed new turtle, as it were. And there's Mutant Town, and there's issues with that and stuff too. This story sort of tells a little more like an interesting way of telling a little bit more backstory of Jenica. So pick it up if you want to know more about the character. I don't think it's essential by any means. Speaking of not essential by any means, but kind of interesting, King in Black. King in Black, the Black Knight #1. I bought this because of the cover. This cover's been advertised forever, and I just really kind of dug it. So I liked it. I bought it as a cover buy. The story's it's somewhat jokey with an internal monologue that doesn't always work, and it's not always clear whether or not the monologue is actually internal too. And some of the characters make fun of that in there. I think it has potential, and I think Spurrier, yes, Simon Spurrier, and Jesus Size. The art's great. I like the art, and the Spurrier's doing his best to make the Black Knight interesting. I don't know if it's 100% successful, but it's not awful. I think I think they're definitely gonna be pushing the Black Knight because he's coming to the movies, to the Eternals, and probably to the next Avengers or maybe his own thing. It's what's his face, the mopey dude, the sad guy from Game of Thrones. The gets sent to the wall and died a bunch of times and is sad about it. That one, Kit Harington, Kit Kat Bar. I don't know what his name is, but yeah, he's the movie guy. I don't know how he's gonna play. Unless he has a lot better range than he showed in Game of Thrones, I don't know how to make I don't know if this version of the character will be what ends up being on the big screen. I mean, personality-wise, it's going to be probably the Dane Whitman, the same Black Knight stuff, but whatever. Anyways, Venom. If you've been following along, this is sort of the ramping up to the grand finale of Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's Venom arc. You could probably again, this is middle of the stack. It's Eddie Brock self-doubting towards his final journey. Maybe not final. Nothing's final in comics. And again, there's a movie with Venom coming out with Eddie Brock. They're not going to, not to spoil what's been happening in the past few issues, but Eddie Brock won't stay in his current state. How about that? I not forever. Nothing's forever in comics, especially superhero. But look, I can cover my head. I do like the cover. It's a cool cover. It's it's hard to talk about without spoiling. So pick it up if you like the Venom. If you don't like the Venom, don't, because you're not gonna like this one either. Star Wars #11, Charles Soule, and first Operation Starlight. I'm kind of like picking this up in the middle. I don't 100% know what's going on, but it is set early enough in the Star Wars story that you recognize a lot of the characters like Lando Calrissian and Lobot and C-3PO and stuff. And this sort of gives some of the motivation for Lando's mistrust of the rebellion. And also, it's a first mission of the Starlight. What is it? Starlight? Operation Starlight? There's a lot of Starlighty stuff in Star Wars. Like the High Republic has a Starlight beacon. I don't think it's all related to Operation Starlight, but I think they've ran out of words. So we got Starlight Operation. And this is set later in the future than the High Republic. This is after New Hope, or the real first Star Wars movie, whatever. They're on the run. Insurmountable odds. For some reason, the Jedi only had their plans on one robot or something, and so they got to figure out how to get it back. And yeah, I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. I'm enjoying the Soul run more than I'm probably letting on with my review, but again, it's just kind of middle of the road. So pick it up. I'll keep with it because I like what he's doing with Princess Leia. Honestly, she's making battle decisions that are not always great for the individual, and that's kind of a refreshing take on her, I think. So, Deep Beyond #1. This is Murkondelfo and I can't go, and yeah, Brad, I don't know. Elliptica, but the sea is also evil, I think. Gorgeous art. Enough here I'll keep reading, but it maybe only one more issue. There's so much post-apocalyptic stuff out right now. It's like a flavor post-apocalyptic and like atmospheric horror are the two things that the indie books all seem to be doing right now. And like, there's only so many you can buy. There's only so many that are doing well. The art is decent enough on this that I'll pick it up, and it's got an interesting enough concept where like part of it's what's like, you know, I'm not sure if the entire colony is in the ocean. I don't think so. So there's a little bit of, you know, unclarity. Jesus. Muddiness as to what's going on story-wise. But there's monsters. And they might be ocean monsters. So, yeah. Oh, I'm killing it with these reviews this week, aren't I, folks? I'm sorry. It's hard sometimes to like give like, you know, full objective things without giving away any of the plot and stuff. And it's also hard when some of the plot just doesn't make a damn lick their sense. So, yeah, this is what you'll get from me this week. All right, this one actually is a pretty clear and straightforward story, and one of my top 2 favorite Future State books that I've read, as far as like the characters and stuff. It's Future State Wonder Woman 2 is Joelle Jones, and this character is great. A young, brash Wonder Woman going to hell, the Greek version, Roman version, whatever. It tells the tale of that. It's a pretty straightforward story. To this issue. Character or something, and also probably I think an ongoing series, possibly set further back to make the character even younger. Not sure. I don't think Future State's a mess, so I don't think. And I like what Joelle Jones has done with it quite a bit. So, yeah, Redemption, post-apocalyptic world. Yeah, see, meets Western meets steampunk. I think it's post-apocalyptic. They don't really. This is more like the Mad Max, where like there's somebody in charge and like he has to do what he says. It's not pure Mad Max, but it's kind of like that. You know, there's a settlement, and if you don't obey the settlement stuff, you get into trouble. And yeah, somebody goes trying to find an outsider to help with the trouble. The story's been told before, or variations on it, but it's an interesting take on who the main anti-hero will be. I think that's going to end up being a little bit different than your standard. Art's great. It's Mike Diodato Jr. You can tell he uses figure references for a lot of the stuff because you'll recognize a lot of the figures. Krista Faust is the writer. AW Shots. It's a 5-issue mini, I believe. Yeah, most of their stuff is. I'm enjoying this one. This is like, yeah, and I know I keep saying the enjoying word. I like where this is headed. The cover I thought could be a little better. Honestly, I don't love this cover, but I will pick up the rest of this series, I think. And, yeah, see where it goes. All right, Fear Case. This is a hardcover to get in great shape, and like this one is not, because it's all black and gray. I like the cover. I like the simplicity of it, and the art does not fit the simplicity of this cover. It's a dirty-ish, kind of sketchy, little painterly, which I generally tend to gravitate towards, although there's some, like, it's hard to tell which characters are which sometimes in here, as far as like what the artist is working with. So I wish there was a little more going on there to differentiate the characters. But this is the FBI has this like literal case file. Yeah, there we go. That's been going on that nobody can solve. That involves a box. I think they don't really know, and it's a horror / haunted case that tends to drive the agents a little batty, and it's like a newbie rite of hazing that the new people get it and have to deal with it for a year before it gets passed on. That's not a whole lot of spoilers. That's kind of right away in the beginning of the book. And then, yeah, this is kind of what's happening with the newest set of people trying to work on that case. I will pick this one up again. It's an intriguing enough first issue that I'll give it a shot. It's Matt Kindt as the writer, and then the Tyler and Hilary Jenkins on the art. And I know they've worked together before, but I'm not sure on what. I can't honestly remember. And I'm trying to just get you some kind of cover without the glare. It's hard. I could take it out, but then I get fingerprints all over it. So. Matt Kindt is doing a decent job. That's one of the more atmospheric horror type. Strange Academy number 8. It's Scotty Young and Humberto Ramos. This is one of Marvel's most consistently good titles. It really is, and it's a young adult. I mean, it's told about young Academy run by Doctor Strange, who's kind of a dick and kind of a and yeah, it doesn't. They don't dumb down the story for kids, but it could be told to kids, and I I really like it. I week or two after the last one, and like these characters, they feel like more fleshed out than a lot of other like more other personalities pretty quickly, and yeah, you really start to care as much as one does about Marvel-based superhero characters. And I know that it's another hot spec book where everyone's thinking, oh, they're going to turn it into something because they should. It's one of the better ideas Marvel's had in a long time. I think one of the not necessarily 100% original, but still consistently good. All right, Swamp Thing, Future State, number 2, whatever. It's Ram V and Perkins on this. Yeah, this could just be an Elseworld story. None of this has to do with Future State. It wraps up in this issue. It's there's nothing like really truly revolutionary. Yeah, whatever. It's a good Swamp Thing story. It happens to be set in the far future. It wraps everything up in the story, so you can collect the last issue, this issue, and have a complete tale, which is kind of nice. The art is kind of very Bernie Wright's in this, and atmospheric and kind of tinged with a bit of the horror, which Swamp Thing tends to do. Yeah, it's a good solid. That's my other favorite Future State thing. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think I know Robbie's going to end up. This it could have been set whenever. It's just I think he's got a pretty decent handle on the Swamp Thing character, and I'll be interested to see what he does with it next. All right, Firepower. Chris Samney, Kirkham. Kirkham's writing. Samney's on the art. Fun kung fu. Sorry, martial arts, and yeah, it's just a high octane tale. This one, it has a cliffhanger. It's got switching allegiances and alliances, and a little bit of family drama. It's yeah. Again, consistently good thus far at Firepower, and I don't say that about every book. There's some that have lulls. This one has not really had much of a lull issue for me, and I know Chris Hamney's art's a little too quote unquote simplistic for folks, but I really enjoy what he does in this, and I think he's got a pretty decent master of like action and weight, and the characters feel like weighted to the ground and stuff. They're not floaty, which is hard to pull off. And his characters, they don't float, although they do. You'll see. This is Zeb Wells and Segovia on Hellions. This is just Marvel characters being dicks to each other. I mean, that's kind of it. It's just fun. Like Mr. Sinister is sinister and kind of an asshole, and the crew he is assembled, they bicker and they're kind of dicks to each other. And the fact that these characters can get killed and reborn and stuff numerous times, they play that up in this, and they do a decent job of like using that to a different effect as far as like violence towards each other and fun. I mean, it's a twisted fun thing, and I love his handle on Mr. Sinister. I just love Zeb Wells' version of the character, and like, yeah, I don't want to spoil a whole lot of things. This is Mastermind, in case you couldn't tell. I don't know, whatever. All right, got a couple left. The Last Witch, number 1, Boombox, which I think is a it's gonna be the younger imprint of Boom Studios. McCreary and Glass and Nestorenko. Yeah, okay. Fairy Tale. I think Russian. I think it's an original story, but I think it's definitely has the feel of a fairy tale, and yeah. Again, I don't want to spoil this one, but like there's a last witch somewhere out beyond the hedges, possibly, and the kids dare each other to go look for her abode, and this is kind of the start of an adventure that's going to involve that. It's probably trade paperbackable, because this is kind of not a whole lot happens here, but it's really well done for what it is. And yeah, it's an all ages romp and not necessarily always up my alley. I just kind of picked it up because it was the number one issue, and I was like, well, why not? And I'm happy I did. I will be following this one too. I will be watching this one. Kind of reminds me on the same level as Wind, not the same kind of story, but the James Tynion's Wind is another like all ages kind of like graphic novel-y thing. This is like on that level. Probably, actually, I like this better than Wind #1. And Wind #1 didn't grab me. This kind of grabbed me enough to keep up with it, and I'll try Wind #2. Last Witch #2. Words are hard. All right, getting there. We got 2 left. Elliot Kalan and Andrea Muti, buddy. The Maniac of New York. By Aftershock. Or it's an Aftershock press book. This is an interesting idea. It's sort of like, what if Freddy or Jason or one of the trope horror people was sort of real and running amok in New York and killing people by the hundreds, and like you can't stop them. It doesn't actually deal a whole lot with that titular character, but it's sort of how the city has reacted to this over a period of time and years and stuff, and the news people that have been put onto the case to like try and contain the said murderer. Art is again painterly and kind of rough, but it works a little bit better for me than it did. Different artists, but same sort of like level of roughness as the Dead Case Files. This works a little bit better for me. This is a great first thing, and I really am looking forward to seeing where it goes. It's Taylor Esposito too. I'm not sure. I could mess it up who's writing and who's drawing. I'm not opening it, and whatever. Anyways, last time. Favorite book of the week with some glossy spot inks on there. Yeah, see, you got a half shiny skull. Hellblazer, Rise and Fall. This is the last of this. This is Derek Robinson. Tom Taylor has a handle on how to write Hellblazer, not Hellboy. Lots of characters. Hell bastards, hell boyfriends, hell blockheads. Never mind. I'm gonna stop while I'm way behind. Hellblazer Rise and Fall. And as I was saying, John Constantine's, he's a bastard of a character, and Tom Taylor is good at writing him. I wish he would write an ongoing with him. I really do. I think it'd be great. I don't think he has enough future cards, but this story wraps up well here. And Derek Robertson, not always my favorite artist, and he's still not 100% in this. But he's decent, and the story fits with like. He makes his art fits in the tale for the most part. I mean, you can tell it's Derek Robinson art. He's got a distinct style that's sometimes a little cartoony, and there's a few panels in here that I think are a little cartoony. But he also does manage to pay a little bit of an homage to like the Steve Dillon stuff, like and the Garth Ennis writing, and the kind of over the top nature of it all. And there's possession. There's some bit of societal criticism in here. It's a little bit kind of heavy-handed, but in a fun way, and I guess maybe not so fun if you're on the other side of some issues. But yeah, my favorite book of the week. It really is. If you want to, and I'm biased, and I know I'm biased because I really like the Hellblazer character when he's done well, and this is done well. So it's an oversized thing, which is a bear to like store and stuff, and you have to get a magazine something or others to keep it in clean shape and stuff. But trying to like, and Derek Robinson's art, it does the job. It really does. I'm not trying to like complain about it. It's just his facial features just get a little cartoony sometimes for me. So fun interaction with the devil, fun interaction with demons, and I don't know what else to say about it other than. This week, hopefully the audio did not go out too badly. I'm not going to reshoot it if it did. It's just you're going to have to live with it, and I'm sorry. I'm going to work on it. If I can afford a new mic, I'll get a new mic and see if that helps things. It might be a while. So, anyways, thank you for watching thus far. I appreciate it, everybody. And I've got stuff for sale on my website, taylorwinner.com. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. And as always, don't be a dick.